I'm Shannon Clee for Canadian HR Reporter TV. Shannon Deegan is the Director of People Operations at Google. He spoke about the importance of boosting innovation in organizations at a Strategic Capability Network event in Toronto. Why is innovation important for organizations?
It's important just because you've got to kind of stay on top of the industry and what you're doing, right? So I think if you fail to innovate, somebody's going to come along who takes what you're doing and innovates on it and knocks you out of the park.
What role can HR play in helping to boost innovation?
To me, the business strategy and the HR strategy are one and the same. I don't think they're separate. So I think when you're trying to create an innovative organization, because you need to for the products that you're producing, then I think you need an HR organization that's kind of geared towards bringing in people who are innovative. Once they're here, making sure that they're happy and that they continue to innovate while they're here. And that you keep the best people, and the ones who aren't being innovative or aren't performing, you kind of figure out how can we make them perform and get them to that next level, or unfortunately move them out if that's not the case. So I think HR is really important in being part of that process and kind of identifying it and creating and really focused in creating the environment to allow all of that stuff to take place.
Can you give me an example of how you, in your role, have boosted innovation at Google?
Probably about a year ago, we realized we were going to really ramp up hiring again. We're constantly hiring at a very fast pace, but we said all of a sudden we're going to increase that pace of hiring and increase that target number that we were going to bring in. So I encourage my team to kind of think about how many recruiters and how many people in the staffing organization we're going to need to be able to hit those numbers. So we kind of put a team together who kind of built a model that said, based on where the hiring is going to happen, not only location-wise, where around the world is it going to happen, but what parts of the organization, engineering versus sales versus marketing, how is that being distributed, the headcount being distributed. So thinking about all of those things, building that model out that says, well, if we're going to do it in sales, we need X amount of people to be able to recruit those numbers based on what we think is the productivity of an average recruiter and all of those things. So I think what it enabled the team to do is not only pinpoint how many people we needed to get the number we needed to get to, but it also gave us a lot more credibility with finance and with the leadership of the organization, because now they're much more comfortable knowing that they can ramp up or ramp down very quickly, because we've got the resources in place and we've got the model in place that tells us, well, if you want to increase by 100, we know exactly what we're going to need to go and get in terms of to get that number, to hit that number. We know what we're going to need on the staffing side. So that was seen as very innovative because nobody had done that before.
You've talked about using HR analytics and HR data to really prove your case to senior executives. What are the most important HR data points to have?
Really, the two big things we look at when we're looking at data, the two most important things are retention and innovation. So are we finding the best talent, and are we keeping them once they get here? And so all of that stuff that goes into it in terms of the benefits and the environment that we're creating. And the second piece of that is the environment. Is this still an innovative environment? So we ask a lot of questions. We do surveys. We do one called Google Geist, and we do a number of other surveys that are kind of random throughout the year that are testing for those two things. So all of that data really helps us drive to understand, do Googlers still feel like we're an innovative organization to the same level we were when we first started? If not, why not? If so, what are we doing right then that we can continue to build on? All of those things. So those pieces of data are probably the two most important. It's really what you're trying to answer that defines what kind of data you're going to go after.
Can organizations that aren't as tech savvy or as engineering based as Google still develop strong HR analytics?
I think a lot of it is just asking the right questions and what's it telling us? I mean, then you do some basic kind of math and statistics around, is it really relevant or not? But I think any organization can do it, and I think most organizations should, because I think the danger is you then may base your decisions on subjective analysis, which there's always kind of a bias in there, and that's where are you really driving at the right thing, and are you really getting to the kernel, or are you looking at are you answering the wrong question is a big piece of it.